Hi everybody, and welcome back to this occasional series with Dean and I chatting about some of the favourite things we've pulled out of his book, Mastering the Basics. And this week's tip is a bit of an odd one. It's to take a public speaking class. Go on a course. There's actually a very good LinkedIn one, isn't there?
There is.
By
Laura Bugel's and hers course.
I was actually thinking of Tatiana Kovac.
Tatiana is terrific.
Yeah.
Whose course.
But actually Laura and Tatiana, check out both.
Yeah.
So go on a public speaking course and learn about presentations. Now, why have you picked that to be on your top list of tips? Why is public speaking such a big deal?
What's the biggest thing that everyone fears? Public speaking. They say, I don't like speaking in public. And it's also something that is so critically important for our careers, though, is being able to speak in public. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people's jobs don't involve very frequent talks at all, really.
Right.
But every now and then there's like a pivotal moment in your career. Maybe, you know, somebody needs to do a talk at a conference, let's say, and you get picked and you just do it really badly, or you avoid volunteering because you're terrified of giving a talk. And if you go to that conference and you give a good talk, that could make a big difference to you. There could be somebody in the audience who offers you a job, or even just within the company you get noticed because you were the guy. So those little key moments often involve public speaking, almost by definition, because you're in front of lots of people.
Right.
So it's got to be important, isn't it? So to be reasonable at it to the point where you don't avoid it, and I think that's the key. You don't have to be brilliant, but you don't want to live in fear to the point where you were. It's like people who are frightened of flying. Right. It's so life limiting.
Right.
And so if you're frightened of giving talks, it's going to be career limiting.
Now, you've spoken for years. You've spoken in public. You do training in public, the keynote speeches.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous? Or
No, I don't actually.
You just step right up.
Well, actually, I sort of do. What I've noticed is if I don't do a talk for, say, 2 or 3 weeks, when I go back to doing it, I get nervous.
Right.
And it's like the fear comes creeping out, like
it's always there.
Yeah, and it's like on a horror film when the blood comes up through the floorboards.
Right.
You know, it's always there under the floor. And because I do it every day, I don't have time. I don't have time to get nervous.
Right.
And because the last one was fine, I'm sort of on a roll.
You're on a roll.
But when I stop, I then start to worry again, and I think, can I still remember it? What am I going to say? What's it going to be like?
Yeah.
And so it does come creeping back, even now. But generally, now, I don't feel nervous. But it's only because I've done it so much. And most people only do it occasionally, so they always have that fear.
Yeah, well, I always have butterflies. I'm the exact opposite. So I always have a little bit of my stomach saying, oh boy, here we go. But as soon as I get on stage or as soon as I begin to speak, I feel very comfortable because I have done it a lot. But it's that 1 minute before I get on, I can feel it in my stomach.
Yeah,
and
it's
so, because some people say, Dean, do you ever get nervous? And I admit it, I do.
Well, I read somewhere that if you're not at all nervous, you're not respecting the audience enough, and you should be, making sure you do it really well. But I think the other thing is I prepare, so I know what I'm going to say.
Bingo.
So I'm not worried.
Bingo.
Why would I be nervous? Because I know what I'm going to say.
Right.
And I know I'm going to remember it because I've got my PowerPoint slides which are going to remind me. So what is there to be worried about? Because you're only going to talk, and we can all talk.
But that goes to the point of taking a class or doing a course on public speaking, just to get that basic training, get the basic skills in place by somebody who's done it for a living.
Volunteer for any opportunities you get so you can practice. And at the time you'll be thinking, why am I doing this? But it'll stand you in good stead.
Yes.
And I honestly think anyone can learn it.
Yes.
And I think with most things, even with things like, say, music, you can't be the best in the world unless you have that ultimate talent. But you can be pretty good.
You can do all right.
And I think speaking is the same. Maybe you're not going to be the best in the world. None of us are.
Right.
But you can be good enough. Yeah. And all you have to be is good enough. And it's not difficult to be probably better than most people at a conference, because most of them are really boring.
Right.
So, and it goes back to one of our other videos about being yourself as well. I think when you present, just be yourself. Because that's what the audience want to see.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who do a really kind of, hello, my name is Chris. I am going to tell you. And then during the questions, they go, oh yeah, well that's a good question. And they become themselves. You think, why didn't you do that for the whole talk?
Yeah. Right.
So just be yourself, it'll be fine. Make sure you prepare and have a structure and all the stuff that you'll be taught.
Yes.
And I think you absolutely can learn to be 7 out of 10 for presentations, which is perfectly
Which is
good.
terrific.
Absolutely.
And the rewards are people will come up to you afterwards, I guarantee, and say, what a great job you did. It'll make you feel good.
And you never know, you might find you end up being 8, 9 or 10. You might have a real talent for it.
You never knew. You never knew.
Yeah, but everyone can be 7 or 8, which is absolutely fine. So go on a public speaking course.
Go do it.
One of the best things you do.